Today we are talking about Archon Rogue, which is the deck that I used to climb to Legend early on the release of the mini set. I think it is a strong deck, difficult to pilot, but today I'm going to walk you through mulligans and decisions in 2 games. We'll play it at close to regular speed, so that it's a lot easier to follow along, and you can find all the little tips and tricks like this situation right here in one of my random games. Because this deck is good. It is very good, very, very good. It wins games, it is very fun, and it's great to play. So stick around and enjoy. All right, today I have 2 games lined up for you. One versus Death Knight, one versus Shaman. Those are, I think, decks that those of you watching probably see the most on the ladder. So I'm going to show you some games that run 2 of the more popular, quote-unquote, popular decks out there. The mulligan, you always keep the Protoss cards, okay? That's just simple as that, except for the big Archon guys, okay? You don't keep those 2 guys. They won't be played till much later in the game. I kept prep in this situation because I have 2 Protoss cards, so I'm in a good spot. In this particular matchup against Death Knight, I want to be aggressive and hit the face. I see that he plays the Handler. I'm just going to use my removal. That's going to discount my Protoss cards in the future. And you want to discount as many as possible. In the late game, you can use that to go to the face. That damage can hit face. But in the early stages of the game, when you're not threatening lethal, you need to discount your Archon activators as much as possible. That's the best way. So you see here he plays Brittle Bone Buccaneer. So I obviously expect him to play Infestor next turn. As such, Infestor is such a big boost to Death Knight. So if he puts in a situation where I can actively deal with the value, I should. So I use a lot of resources here to get rid of the Buccaneer. Because I know that if he plays Infestor, now he at least won't get the Reborn on it, okay? And he opts to go a different route, which is fine. I have delayed him a turn. So now I can, at face, I can use this to discount another card and now draw one of the other Templars to activate my Archon. So now in my hand, for 6 mana, I can activate an Archon. Okay, so that's pretty big. One other card that you might be wanting to keep versus Death Knight is Deafen. So I do play Deafen, and I think there's option to keep that. So in this situation, Death Knight, I know that there are very few options for him to kill my stealth unit, right? Like, unless he had he got a buff from the Infestor, and he had what is that thing on the board, the Baneling, but I haven't seen him do any of that, so I don't expect it to be there. Here he's kind of played into a early game clear, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do 2 damage. We're going to kill off the Infestor. I know that the Archon, when it goes live, it will kill off the leftover Infestor, and I will have an 8/8. And Death Knight, this new Zerg Death Knight is a great deck. It's very strong. But what it lacks is single target removal for big minions. So even here, this game is 1. I know that my opponent cannot kill the 8/8. Because he used up his spawning pool, he can't rush minions into it. So now I win, because now I just cast Cover Artist. Well, I didn't even have to cast Cover Artist, he was already dead, but for the added BM, you play Cover Artist and win the game. Easy. All right, next game, here we go. We are going to play against Shaman. This game is being played at 1.5 times speed. So as usual, you keep Protoss cards like Photon Cannon, throw everything else back. Oh, you also keep Dig for Treasure. This is one of your few 1-drops. Dig for Treasure, pick, and then these full Protoss cards, they're great. You get a Scoundrel, that's lucky. Awesome. Now, Shaman, there are a couple builds out there. There's the one that plays for the tanks, and there's the one that is tankless. In both situations, you want to get to a point where you can combo out the big board, okay? So that means discounting your cards as much as possible and keeping their board clear as much as you can. And usually that requires drawing more cards. There I'm very aggressive with playing out the draw card thing. Forget what it's called. And next turn I'll be able to do something like quick pick into prep into into that card right there. You know, there's better options for me here. So and I can play here and keep the board clear. So you always do this. Like obviously, like it'd be so much cooler if the Ray was had Divine Shield and +2/+2, or if it had +2/+2, but you don't need that. You just play for the options that you can have at this point. You don't have to get full value of out of cards. All right, you just need to play what you can when you can. So I do opt to save it because, you know, I don't want him to continue to build a starship. I don't want, like, I could have played the Void Ray and then Shadow Stepped it, but that doesn't seem very efficient, right? So here's a nice board clear by my opponent. My Templar costs 5. I'm still missing another one. I don't have copycats. I'm in a rough situation, if you will. Oh, go ahead and play it. Be very aggressive here. And then because I have Shadow Step, you know, I'll be able to step it back if necessary. And I think I do want to step it back, right? Like, well, you know, this is a situation where you don't necessarily need to Shadow Step him back, but because I already have the other Templar in hand, like I can feel safe with that combo. I don't want to risk him, I don't know, you know, killing it with the 1 mana spell that makes it 1 health and then activating the starship, or even that, right? Like even this Titan, he could have played the Titan and just killed it. So anyway, here we go. We'll use Dubious Purchase again to draw more cards, get more stuff in our hand. Now we have Artanis. Artanis is a huge card to discount your hand, your Protoss cards. So get these guys even cheaper. Like I feel pretty good here. Like I'm at 20 health. I'll be able to get 5 armor. Ooh, okay. So I do have to think about if he's running Ghost. That is a concern, right? Because if he's running Ghost, I may just lose like a ton of cards in my hand. And you'll see I'm just going face because the reasoning here is I just, you know, I want to go for the lethal turn. So, because if he has Ghost, like I'm going to lose everything in my hand. Like I'm going to lose all my cheap cards, right? So that's why I play the Templar. I already have 2 other Templars in hand, and I don't want this Templar to go down for free. So I know he has to target this Templar, because if he leaves my Templar on the board, he's going to, you know, I'm going to activate an Archon. So, and that's, I don't know, maybe he didn't know that Steam Tanks doesn't hit face, but that's his fault. So now we're looking pretty good. We're a couple of Archons away from winning the game. Like right now, for 10 mana, we can get 2 Archons, right? We play the 2 Templars plus the Copycat. So I'm 1 turn away from it. But the minion also has stealth, so there's that. Okay, here we go. We get the big discount on everything in our hand. And we're just going for it. And then I can use Copycat. Buff up a minion. Swing for the face. Put him at 1. And, you know, I know he can't deal with this. Unless he has Pop-Up Book and, like, way to clear the board, he is going to die. So we're going to win the game. So a couple things, like, that you really need to know is, like, you have a lot of damage, okay? Like, you have so much damage in the deck. Having an Archon on board is, if it clears the board, that's effectively 16 damage. Having a Copycat is effectively 24 damage. And remember, Archon doesn't just deal damage to the face, it also does 2 damage to everything on the board. So the effect is pretty significant. Like, and you can really steal games even if your opponent is sitting around, you know, 16 to 24 health. Like if your opponent is around that health and you have both Archons in hand or both Templars in hand and a Copycat, you got a chance to win the game. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the the deck. I hope you enjoyed this. What your footage you're seeing is from the actual Legend climb. One of my last few games to Legend, or maybe that was my last game to Legend, I don't know. But at the time I had like a 70% win rate. At one point it went up to as much as 85%, and then, of course I did lose some games, like tough decks that I didn't have to challenge on my climb. I didn't face a lot of Weapon Rogue with the deck, and I didn't face Hero Power Druid. Hero Power Druid is a lot more common in the ladder, and I say that this deck will struggle greatly with it because, you don't have a ton, and you need a little bit of time to build up to find your burst, right? But the other decks, this does great against them. It is very fun to play. I think there's a funny paradox here, because at the lower levels of play, higher level players are gonna really do well with this deck, and most of your climb will be relatively easy. Now, when you get to Legend, you'll see more people playing this deck because it's a good deck. There are ways to win. You got to be creative to find ways to win, and it's there. But as you get to the higher levels of Legend, people start learning how to play around the outs of the deck. They start playing Viper at the right time for Death Knight. They start, saving Ghost for parts, for times in your hand when your hand size is a lot smaller. There are definitely ways to play around the deck, but it is a fun deck. It is challenging to play, but it's worth giving it a try. I hope that you like this type of video where it's only 1 or 2 games at a slower speed, so that maybe we can walk through more of the plays together. Thank you for joining me on this video. I appreciate all of you. I'm currently on a vacation in the Philippines, but I hope that by the time I come back, I will have an achievement video ready for you. We're about 70% of the way there. So enjoy, and I'll see you when I get back.